Okay, we're going to learn how to make the body pillow. The things you need is your pillow form, you'll need your scissors, your pin cushion, your measuring tape, and your fabric. The first thing you're going to do is measure out your fabric so it can be cut. What you're going to need to do is fold this over, and so first of all it needs to be right sides together, so the right side should be up, the dark side should be against the carpet, and then when you fold it over, the right side should be smashed together. You're going to want to measure this out, and so the two sides together are about 20 inches. That needs to back up a little bit. It's going to probably take you a few minutes to measure it, but you want to be able to measure it. There's about 20. There's about 20. And there's about 20. Once you have this folded over, what you're going to do is you're going to take your shears and you're going to cut off this extra piece. You want to cut nice and straight, and that's why this needs to be laid out on the floor or a table. So I'm going to cut all the way down this piece. This extra bit right here, you can put in your cubby, and then if there's time at the end of your body making pillow session, then you can make something else with the scrap. Okay, so this should get cut all the way down. Then I'm going to leave it on the floor and I'm going to pin it. I need to pin two edges, top edge and a side edge. You're going to leave the fold the way it is because that's going to stay together. When you put the pin in, you want to put the pin down and then pop it back up. The head of the pin should be off the fabric. You only need to put your pins about 6 inches together, the distance between here and here. Doesn't really need to be much closer than that, and always pin in the corner. Okay, we've pinned along the short side, now we're going to pin along this long side. Okay, once you're done, pick your shears up and your pin cushion up, and we're going to come over here and we're going to sew it. So your machine should already be threaded up with your thread, just on the straight stitch. You're going to feed this in, the long end in first. You're going to make sure that your seam allowance is at 5/8 inch. You're going to sew forward a little bit. Hit your back stitch button. Little thread that's caught there. And then you're just going to keep sewing straight. Keep it at 5/8. When you get to a pin, you're going to take out the pin. This takes a little bit of time, but you want to make sure and stay straight. almost down the one side. Okay, we're getting close to the edge here. When we get close to the edge, I'm going to make sure and stop when my fabric reaches that metal plate right there. Turn my hand wheel down so the needle's down and then pivot. That way I'll line back up on the 5/8 if I stop right there on that metal plate. Okay, and I'm almost to the folded side. So once I get over here to the fold, I'm just going to make sure I back stitch. Then I'm going to clip my threads. And then I'm going to lay it back out on the ground. I want to make sure the length is okay. So if I have my pillow and I lay it on top of there, what I want to do is make sure that the end extends off about 10 inches. So you can see right now it's greater than 10 inches. So if I take my measuring tape and I measure from about the end of the pillow to 10 inches, I can see it's right there. And you know, if you want to draw a line for 10 inches, you can, or you can just kind of measure it and eyeball it out. Okay, so this is extra fabric as well that you can stick back in your cubby. Okay, the next thing you're going to need is your seam gauge. And that looks like this. So you're going to pull this little marker back to 4 inches. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll this cuff down. And you want to roll it down 4 inches. So roll this a little bit more. And if you put the edge, then the fabric should reach all the way to the 4. Mine almost does, a little bit more. And this is the cuff on your pillowcase. Okay, that's pretty good right there. A little fat down there. Good. Okay, so what I would do there is I would then hold this in place and flip it again. And when I flip it again, I probably would put a pin in there to hold it. So you're going to hold this in place, flip it one more time. And that way you should have 4 inches inside and 4 inches on the outside. Okay, if I lay this down again, and I measure this, you can, it's a little bit of a fold there. When you pin, you want to make sure you only pin through one layer so it stays open. Pin this down. A little bit greater right there. And you're going to want to flip it over and do the same on the other side. And again, make sure you can open it. Make sure you're not pinning it shut, because we've got to turn it right side out and get your pillow in there.